Hey, what's up? You're watching The Sit Down. I'm DJ Sixsmith. First time we've had a chef, Tim Hollingsworth, here with us. He's got his Netflix show. He's got his LA restaurants. Good time for to be you, man.
Great to be here.
What's going on? Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
So you're in New York for a quick hitter.
Yeah.
Food scene, you're scoping it out, but it's just really a business trip for you. You're just in and out, and then right back to LA. You got a lot cooking these days.
Yeah, in and out, but don't worry, I'll find time for food.
Prince Street Pizza. Yeah.
Prince Street Pizza. I'm gonna head there probably this afternoon.
Nice. I like it. So, like, are you the guy that people go to for food selections, like food recommendations? Like, do you kind of fill that role for friends?
I mean, I think any chef does. I mean, you know, like any of your friends are always like, they're asking for cooking advice. They're asking for like what restaurants to go to. I just left a meeting earlier, and they're like, okay, what's hot in LA? What's, you know, like, I'm like, what's hot in New York?
Right. Yeah, hook me up and I'll hook you up.
Yeah.
So when did you realize you had the goods? Like, when did this become a passion for you, and what's been like building it out?
You know, I was 18 years old. I started out as a dishwasher in a restaurant. I used to do construction with my dad before that.
Wow.
And I moved up pretty fast, started working in line. Was at that time was like winding down high school and like figuring out what I wanted to do. Was going to go into the Marines, thought about doing reconnaissance, and then I met a girl, so decided not to do that. And then ultimately, you know, just kind of fell in love with the idea of what a chef life could be, in the sense of like you develop this trade, and then ultimately you get to travel wherever you want to go. If I wanted to go work in France, I can go work in France. If I wanted to go work, you know, in whatever city, it's like a trade that you have that you can be able to. It's pretty versatile, so you can be able to travel and be able to use it. And then eventually, I just fell in love with the idea of making somebody happy. You know, making something and seeing the look on somebody's face, or if they didn't like it, the opportunity to make it again and for them to enjoy it. You know, the instant gratification that comes with cooking. Yeah,
no question about it. So you could be anywhere. So why Los Angeles then?
You know, I met a girl when I was leaving the French Laundry, who's now my wife, the mother of my 3 kids, and that's where her family's based. My brother lives in LA as well, so it was a good option. I thought about, you know, where do you go from the French Laundry? I wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to open up a restaurant, so you know, San Francisco was on the list. New York was obviously on the list. I was talking to people in New York about coming out here and opening a spot, but ultimately decided on LA. I think I'm more California boy at heart. So, you know, going, even though the NorCal and SoCal is very different. But I think LA had, at that time, had the most room for opportunity and growth. And then, you know, I mean, that was probably, what was that, almost 6-7 years ago now. So, I mean, we've seen the LA food scene just blow up since then. Yeah,
so what are some of the differences? Because like you said, like 6-7 years, a lot has changed in that time. What kind of sticks out to you the most?
You know, I think LA is a spot where, when I think of New York back in like the early 2000s or the late 90s, it was an area where a young chef can still go into a space and like cook their food, and they had the opportunity to do that. I think the real estate's just like crazy. The cost of living's crazy. San Francisco, it's the same thing. So I think in LA right now, you still have the ability. You don't have to open up a grand restaurant like Odeum. You know, it's like, that was a big build out. That was from the ground up. You know, you can kind of go into a strip mall and open up a fine dining restaurant if you wanted to. And I think for that reason, the culinary scene is really blooming there. And the ethnic cuisine in LA is just incredible. I mean, the Chinese food, the Thai food. I mean, it's really, really Korean food. Is amazing.
You get everything you want.
You do.
It's amazing, right?
You don't get New York Chinese food. I do.
That's true. Yeah, it's a little different here. New York pizza also.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there's a few different things, but like with Odeum, you mentioned it, like what were some of the hard parts in building that thing out? Because people know about it now in LA, but like you had to do everything from the ground up, so what were some of the hardest parts there?
I mean, just opening, I mean, we opened a restaurant built on a bridge. I mean,
my gosh,
you can literally drive underneath the restaurant, opening a restaurant from the ground up, opening a restaurant from on Bunker Hill, which is kind of a slower area and not necessarily a cooler area. I mean, there's a lot of theater and a lot of arts in that area, but not, you know, it's not like the hub of downtown. It's not like the coolest area. It's not like West Hollywood. It's not Hollywood. It's, you know, it's a different. It's not Santa Monica. It's not Venice. So it's a different thing. But I think some of the best restaurants right now are in downtown LA, and I think LA is just, you know, thriving in the food scene.
Yeah, it's really interesting you mentioned that, because then with your other places, you're kind of tapping into the whole sports bar thing, like right in the hub of things, CJ Boyd. So how did that all come together?
You know, I was approached by the team that was putting together the stadium for LAFC, Big California Stadium, and the opportunity was there, and I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to do fried chicken. Fried chicken is something that my grandpa used to have, or like one of my earliest memories. My grandpa going to KFC and getting like fried chicken on payday.
That was a big deal at that point, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like, it was cool. It was cool, and so, you know, I named it after him, and it was an opportunity to take that Southern fried chicken and nod to, like, you know, my down home style of cooking. You know, I grew up eating that kind of food. I didn't grow up eating, you know, fine dining food. You know, so I grew up eating home cooked meals, and if we went out to a restaurant, it was a chain restaurant. So, you know, it was those two concepts were both like my kind of nod to my family and to how I grew up in food.
What surprised you the most about how that's resonated with the LA audience there? Just that Southern comfort style that brings you back to your childhood, but is very anti-LA in some ways also.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, LA has its stereotypes, just like any city. But, you know, I think ultimately people eat, you know, people go on diets, of course, but, you know, people eat. Like,
they like to treat themselves.
Yeah, I mean, fried chicken sandwich is like, it's hard to pass up. Yeah, you're not eating it every single day, but, you know, it's something that people have a craving for. You know, I think even the barbecue restaurant that opened up, you know, people at that time in LA, there was not a lot of Texas style barbecue. So we opened up Texas barbecue, and it's not the most healthy food either, but actually maybe now with all the keto diet thing, right?
I mean, it fits in perfectly with that. It's amazing how diets change over time, where it's like, that wouldn't have fit in a couple years ago, but now it's like, yeah, this goes right with the keto diet.
Exactly.
Have you had people from Texas that have tried the barbecue and been like, oh, this is legit, or I dig this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's tough. I mean, barbecue in Texas is like, it's a cultural thing. You know, it's something that, and it's hard to beat. And it's hard to beat because of the format and the way that they serve it. So, you know, if you've ever gone to a restaurant that has barbecue and it's like all day long, it's very different than having barbecue, because barbecue there is like in the morning. So you wake up in the morning, you go stand in line, you get barbecue. You know,
you
it's
got your
like
big Texas toast there too.
Yeah, but they make it all, you know, and then they serve it all, and then when they run out, they run out.
Right.
You can't do that in LA. I mean, there's a couple people trying to do it, but like it's tough. People expect more. They don't understand the culture behind it.
They just kind of want their food. They don't understand the story behind it or the significance of it and anything like that.
Exactly. So it's an uphill battle. You're trying to educate, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Where are some other spots in LA that may not be your spots, but like you like hanging out there, you like eating there with your family? Like, give me a few places you enjoy.
Yeah, I love Combi. You know, Combi is one of my favorite spots, a little neighborhood spot. It's got really good katsu sandwiches. They have a Japanese breakfast that I love. I don't eat breakfast a lot, but like if I have a breakfast meeting or whatever, that's kind of my go-to. I also like, where else do I go? I go to Pine and Crane. I just had a baby, so like now it's like I like Postmates or cook at home a lot.
Right, that's kind of the move, yeah. But when you do get out, those are kind of a couple spots to go to.
Yeah.
I feel you. So what would distinguish your place from, or just your places in general from other places? Like if people haven't eaten your food before, like what's your signature style? What kind of distinguishes you in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think we focus on flavor. You know, I think having a fine dining background and having the techniques and understanding of all of that, and then applying it to food that is serves volumes of people. I mean, we can do up to 400 covers at Odeum.
Wow.
So it's a lot of people, and you know, the same effort, the same attention to detail all go into the products as you would in a fine dining restaurant. It's just served and presented a little bit more simply, or served family style. And so I think that you're able to go and you're able to get techniques that you might not get at other restaurants because people weren't maybe not technically trained the same way that I was. So, and I think we highlight and we focus on American food in the whole, and American being just like, you know, we're a group of people that is built on different cultures and ethnicities kind of coming to America and building a home, and their cuisine sort of evolving into what it is today in America. And I think we like to draw influence from all that. So you'll see Middle Eastern stuff, you'll see Chinese stuff, Japanese stuff, Mexican stuff on the menu, which is really fun.
Yeah, I think the fascinating thing about the culinary world is that you mentioned just all these different cuisines, and now it's like, if you're going to be in this world, like, you got to be creating your stuff and doing video, and you got the Netflix thing going on, so like, you really got to be out there with it. So How'd the whole Netflix thing come together?
Yeah, I mean, that was, they tapped me on the shoulder, asked if I'd be interested in doing it. There was a lot of cooking shows at that time. There was, Iron Chef reached out to me for a couple of their different projects. I had said no to a lot of them just because I competed in a competition called the Bocuse d'Or, represented America. I felt like, it was kind of like a step back.
Right, kind of been there, done that sort of thing.
Yeah, but also the awareness that something like Netflix would bring to a brand and to the restaurant and the platform that you have the opportunity to put yourself on to be able to share your philosophy and your story. I think it's really, really incredible. It's 24 chefs from around the world competing to have one seat at the final table with all of these amazing chefs. It's a pretty cool opportunity.
I think there's some good value in that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Do you have any cool stories about like sharing a meal with somebody or somebody coming to one of your restaurants and enjoying it? Anybody pop into mind for you right now?
As far as like celebrities?
Yeah, celebrities or just people of significance to you or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I remember those Ducasse came into the restaurant. Alain Ducasse is one of the biggest chefs in the world, and he came into the restaurant. That was a dream of mine. I mean, I remember I have like a cookbook signed in like 1998 that, from him. It was my dream to work for either Thomas Keller or Alain Ducasse. So, that was a pretty special thing. There was one night where Thomas Keller was in, as well as my first chef that I ever worked for, Christian Moss.
So you're really trying to impress.
Ironically, yeah. And I got a picture with both of them.
That's
I got to
cool.
introduce them for the first time. It was like, like one guy is like the reason why I started cooking. Like he mentored me through that, and the other guy is like who I spent the majority of my career with. So those were cool. I mean, we get celebrities. That Sting was just in. That was pretty cool to meet him.
What was his go-to from your menu? What do you enjoy?
We kind of like said, hey, do you want us to cook for you? And we cooked, and the cool thing was like 2 nights later he came back in.
Oh wow! So I guess he was impressed with what you had going.
Exactly.
Is he just hanging out solo, or does he have like a group he's with? Like how did that go?
I mean they were talking about his tour or something. I mean it was all business. It was all business. He was working.
You're like, we'll feed you. Come on back whenever.
Yeah.
I like it. But you never know who's going to run in. That's I think the beauty of your restaurants.
Yeah. I mean, in LA, there's a lot of people that come in. It's pretty cool. It's almost normal. You don't get
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like Brad Pitt could be sitting there.
You're just like, a lot of foodies. Like a lot of people are really into it.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's into food these days, pretty much.
I'd say so. Yeah. Whether it's for health reasons, just you're enjoying it, or whatever else, you got to have food in some way, shape, or form. Right? Tim, really nice to meet you, Billy.
Awesome. Great
Thanks
to
so much. Check out this guy. Where can everybody check you out? Social media and all that stuff.
Yeah. At Chef TimHollingsworth.com.
All right. Cool.
Instagram. Yeah.
There you go. For Tim, I'm DJ. See you next time. See you. Sit down.
Thanks.